We have this great sense of connection to our whenua out at Ihumātao. When I think about my relationship to Papa Tuanuku and how, my placenta, my mother's, placenta and ours is there on the whenua, and to have to want to protect our tūranga waiwai. Just to think that our tūpuna maunga is there. When we stand on our maunga and we feel tāwhiri mātia, fill our lungs and come through our our hair and our skin, I feel deeply connected. Even now I struggle to leave the place because of the risk of bulldozers coming or Fletchers coming to evict us. A ko puka tāpapa te maunga, ko ōrua rangi te awa, ko te mānukanuka o Hotsurua te moana. Ko Tāmaki Makaurau te marae, ko Waikato o te raro a ngā puhi ngā iwi, ara ko Pania Newton tōku ingoa. Fletchers are proposing to build a 500 housing development on our whenua tūpuna, our wāhi tapu, at Puketāpapa within Ihumātao. And what that means is that development will see the desecration of our ana koiwi, our puna wai, our maunga. Ihumātao is one of the first places that Māori settled. So we talk about the tainui waka coming down through Otahuhu and being portaged across to Ihumātao. The descendants of the tainui waka came to settle here in Ihumātao and then continued on down to the Waikato rohe. And so this area is very significant to the tainui people and the people of Waikato. But it goes back further than that with our stories of Hape and how he arrived on kaiwhare from Hawaii to Ihumātao and settled there. And from him came the descendants who still live within our papakainga at Ihumātao. We talk about our pepeha and our whakapapa. Well, at Ihumātao, and in particular the block that we are defending, lies significant geological environmental features that make up my identity. We recite our pepeha and we talk to our maunga. For example, te Puketāpapatanga hape, the footsteps of our maunga lies within this proposed development area. And so if this whenua was to be developed, that would impact my identity. We also talk about the ana koiwi that lie within this landscape, the puna wai, the stone wall structures, the pa sites that are located there, they all make up who I am. And if those were to be lost, so too will part of my identity. All of us will say that we oppose the development, but there's a fraction of us who have fought the fight for so many years that the only way they see forward is by negotiating or entering into agreements with Fletchers to try and get the best outcome that they see we could get. In 1863, the Sir Governor Grey issued a proclamation to the natives of Ihumātao, Māngere, Pukaki, all across the Manukau region, which said that those that were residing in the area were to pledge their allegiance to Her Majesty the Queen, and those who did not were forcibly removed from the lands. And so those at Ihumātao were staunch to the kingitanga movement, which was seen as a threat to the colonial establishment of the time. And so they peacefully left and walked to Mangatawhiri. And when they arrived there, they were met by Sir Marmaduke Nixon's constabulary, and many of the people who crossed the river were murdered. And so that's what Pākehā historians describe as what initiated the Waikato Wars, which they describe as the greatest war for New Zealand. So thinking about those is quite hard to swallow. It makes my stomach turn even thinking about how our people were ejected from their whenua. The confiscation in 1863 was just the first of many injustices to follow that Ihumātao experienced over all these years. So following that, we have the establishment of the Mangere wastewater treatment plant, which saw the closing off of our moana. That was our pātaka kai. And with that came the closing of our awa, Oruarangi. This is an effect of all the runoff or discharge from the encroaching industrial developments around Ihumātao. Pollution that's here in our awa and our moana. We had to adapt just as we did with the quarrying of our 4 tupuna maunga within Ihumātao. When we think of our maunga, they are our ancestors, those are our tupuna. And the mamae that was felt with the quarrying and then the pollution of our moana left a deep sense of hopelessness for our people. So when this latest threat of the Fletcher's development came up, we just thought to ourselves, we've experienced so many injustices over the years, and when is enough enough? And from that we decided to take a stand to defend our whenua. Here we are. Growing up, there was always this culture of having to accept these injustices, adapt and move on the best way that we can. And having gone to university and done my legal studies, I was able to learn about the other land struggles that happened across our nation, such as Pākaitore, Takaparawa, Parihaka, and knowing what they went through and how they overcome that kind of influenced us to take a stand against this most recent threat. But growing up in the pā, we were often told about the stories of how our grandparents or even my parents experienced swimming in the moana, collecting kai from the awa. Since I was born, the moana was polluted. The awa, we had no access to the awa. We couldn't collect kai from our whenua because it was in private ownership. Or, the encroachment from the industrial areas surrounding our pā were coming closer and closer. And so, I just feel like I don't want my nieces and nephews or children that I may have in the future to have less than I already have today, which is less than what my grandparents had during their time.
We're fighting for our mokas, and we continue to fight for them. They have a right to have part of this land. Their whenua is buried on this land, and I don't see why I can't keep fighting.
I saw a news article come out from one of our nans about how she was fighting against the pollution of our awa and the stormwater discharge proposals that were coming in during that time. And she spoke about how the banks of our urupa was eroding and the tūpapaku were moving, and as they were digging holes for whānau, they were being filled with water. But I promised my partner at the time that I would move down to Rotorua, and he was working at the hospital, and I would start working at his dad's law firm. And I told him that I missed the whenua and I wanted to see this kaupapa, and I guess too, knowing that, my our aunties and our nan were left to defend the whenua on their own, made me want to come back. And as well, the connection, like, it's my responsibility as a kaitiaki to defend our whenua, to defend our tupuna that are lying within that landscape. And so, I asked my partner if I could come back, and he and his whānau agreed, and, it was a strain on our relationship, and we had to end it after about maybe 10 years. And, I don't know why I'm talking about that. Yeah. But, I guess, it's one of the sacrifices that I've had to make for this kaupapa. Yeah. At first I thought my role was just to stand in front of the bulldozers, to use my voice, to chant and hold banners, because, our kuia were leading the way for us. I had older cousins that were leading me. And so after going to Rotorua and coming back, I realised, that I had these skills and that I could put them to use in this campaign. And so we decided to lodge a claim with the Waitangi Tribunal. We found confidence to use my skills to lodge claims with the High Court, and to use them also to write submissions and things like that. But we've always been lucky that we've never had to look too far in our history for great leadership in this area. We only have to look down the road to Waiuku, to our kahurangi Nganiko Minhinnick, and the fight that she took and her legacy. I remember when we started, we were getting messages back saying how much she supported our kaupapa and that she was excited that there were rangatahi getting involved to, defend the taiao. And learning about her journey to the United Nations, we followed in her footsteps and decided to go to the UN.
I respectfully request and invite the Special Rapporteur to 1. Visit our occupation at Ihumātao and investigate the New Zealand government's breaches to the UNDRIP and Declaration on Human Rights. And 2. To investigate Fletcher Residential's proposed development which breaches international standards. To reaffirm our position and opposition, despite the government's and Fletcher's advancements, I conclude with a poem, a song written by my sister about human rights. E korera wa korera wa e mutu te whawhai atu ki te ka wanatanga e. We will never give up our rights to fight for what's right. Oh no, we will not. No reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā no tātou katoa. I just want to thank you all. Mwah. Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks,
Mwah. Let's enjoy some.
SOUL stands for Save Our Unique Landscape, and we're a group led by a mana whenua, led by the 6 cousins who established the campaign, and include community members locally and nationally. It's an international campaign.
Yes. 1 down, 17 to go.
We first started off as a group working to oppose the Fletchers' development, but it's grown into a whānau. They're like my second whānau. And it's quite a diverse group. We have academics, we have farmers, electricians, plumbers, all sorts. We're not just about defending the whenua at Kaitiaki Village, which we've named the reclamation site. but we're also about defending our whānau. So when whānau come to reclaim the whenua or occupy, they come with their challenges or their struggles and their history. And so we, the Kaitiaki, firmly believe that whenua is healing. And so we've invited whānau who are going through trying times, and being able to watch them reintegrate back into society or whānau life has been amazing. Watching them learn their pepeha and their whakapapa has been transformative. And we're healing our whānau through healing the whenua.
My mokupuna's placenta is buried on this land. I want to share their stories with them so they can have some history for us, some whakapapa to connect to the land. It's about sharing, yes, but it's also about the caring of our mokupuna who are many generations, 30 generations later. They have a right to come back to the land too.
What do you think? What do you think she'll
She
pick?
wants the white one.
And the mustard one.
No.
And then, what kind of shoes do you have?
Get milk.
Well, if I wear a long one like this, I'm going to wear my gumboots.
Oh, okay. That's trending.
Getting ready for the awards was a bit stressful. Well, I don't have much time, so...
This one's quite
The only
nice.
thing I probably enjoyed about it was the recognition that we got as a rōpū,
Oh, that's nice.
as a campaign for the whawhai that we're going through at the moment. And so I was just stoked that all the whānau who have put in their hard work, time and efforts into fighting for our whenua were, they were being recognised for everything that they do. Not being able to take everyone in our campaign to the awards night was, hoha, I suppose. The hardest thing to overcome in this campaign is probably having to make decisions for other people, make decisions for our whenua. I just see myself as just part of the team. I'm not leading anybody. We're all leading ourselves, the way I see it. Another challenge is overcoming some of the tikanga aspects, and that is, the concept around tuakana and teina, and the concept of mātewa. Everything happens at a certain time for a reason in a certain place. Because in many ways people are like, oh, these rangatahi, they're, just doing their own thing. Or even things like our wahine not speaking for our kaupapa. That is something that I've had to overcome as well. We've become too complacent, and I always go back to, kahurangi, whina kupa's kōrero, not one more acre. That was in the 1975 during the Māori Land March. So I hope that Māori continue to take up whawhai such as these, or are inspired to through other kaupapa that are happening around the motu. But the hope that I have for our whenua Ihumātao is that the Tāpapa block is added onto the Aotearoa Stonefields Historic Reserve, as was promised in 2007 to our pakeke, so that the uri of that whenua can go there and connect to our wāhi tapu, connect to our tupuna, but also so that New Zealanders can come and enjoy the significance of that whenua. I hope one day that when I pass on and I leave this earth, that my koiwi will go back to those ana when I've passed on, And that shows the importance of that whenua to who I am. That is my tūranga waiwai, that is my sense of belonging, and that is where I exercise best my tino rangatiratanga.
Tēnā koutou irirangi te motu I te pūtia tautoko ka rawe.